Welcome to Saturday Primetime, presented by H&R Block. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. And have we got a fun one for you this afternoon? 20,000 strong here inside Rupp Arena as the Kentucky Wildcats get set to host their longtime rivals, the Tennessee Volunteers. A look at the SEC standings. Auburn up at the top. Texas A&M undefeated in league play as well. Kentucky 3-1. Tennessee 2-2 as they get ready to get going here this afternoon. Hi, everybody. We hope you can feel what it feels like in this arena right now. And Jay, we're going to see a really good offense in Kentucky against an outstanding defense in Tennessee.
Well, anytime you play against Kentucky, you have to be concerned overall with two things. One is Kentucky's transition game. You have to get back in transition, take care of the ball so they don't get runouts, and then rebounding. This is one of the best rebounding teams in the country, led by Oscar Tshiebwe, averaging 15 rebounds per game. Tennessee usually sends 4 guys to the offensive glass. Maybe that can slow the transition, but all 5 balls have to rebound in this one. And Oscar Tshiebwe, I think, is the leading candidate for National Player of the Year this season. Tshiebwe's averaging over 15 rebounds, over 5.5 offensive rebounds. Tshiebwe has more offensive rebounds than any teammate has total rebounds. 4 20-rebound games, including 28 rebounds against Western Kentucky. Last 2 games averaging almost 30 points, 15 rebounds, 65% from the field, and 0 turnovers.
Amazing numbers being put up by Tshiebwe. He's ready to go, and so is Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Kentucky will get some players back today. Tshiebwe and Wheeler, a very crucial player and starter for them, has missed the last 2 games after having a very scary injury. He took a hit in that game against LSU, had a neck injury, or what they're calling kind of a whiplash effect. He talked to me yesterday and said he's been doing a ton of rehab therapy on that neck. He feels good. He did practice yesterday, and he's ready to go.
It's crucial for him because at times he'll defend Kennedy Chandler for Tennessee, and he said, you know what, I know how to defend him very well. We played together when we were 4th or 5th grade on the same AAU team. I can't wait to try to slow him down.
Holly, thank you very much. Moments ago in the arena, a video tribute in memory of former Kentucky coach Joe B. Hall, who led them to a national championship in 1978. Hall passed away earlier today at the age of 93. And important, Jay, not for just the on-court accomplishments, but for the off-the-court legacy here in Lexington as well.
Well, Joe B. Hall was an icon, one of only 3 coaches to have played on a national championship team and coached a national championship team, along with Dean Smith and Bob Knight, the only one to have done it at the same school, the University of Kentucky.
And John Calipari, you see the program in his right hand. That is a tribute to Joe B. Hall, who always came out and coached with the program back in the day in his right hand. So John Calipari with his way of honoring the memory of Joe B. Hall as well. You know, sometimes you do these early afternoon games and you say, man, I don't know if people have woken up yet. They're awake here in Lexington. This rivalry is 111 years old, and the Vols have won the last 2 times they have come to Rupp Arena. The first possession belongs to Tennessee, and another tribute to Joe B. Hall as Kentucky, Jay, comes out at a 1-3-1, the defense that he preferred running back when he was a coach.
Yeah, staple for Joe B. Hall when he was the head coach here at Kentucky. And what a nice tribute. I know that John Calipari didn't want to spot Tennessee a basket to start, but a beautiful tribute to the late, great Joe B. Hall.
Olivier Kamwa, the junior from Helsinki, Finland, gets Tennessee on the board. The Vols, on a number of occasions, have had trouble scoring, especially early in games. They have fallen behind and come back to win some. They can ill afford to fall too far behind against Kentucky here in this one.
Kennedy Chandler making it really difficult on Ty Washington, coming off that little dribble handoff, and the pressure is intense.
Washington, though, so tough to speed him up. He's got great pace and poise, and he knocks it down.
For both of these teams, you are going to have to make individual plays. You're not going to be able to run patterned offense or patterned plays. You have to be a playmaker in this game.
Boy, they don't seem to like John Fulkerson here in Lexington, the 6th-year super senior. Rick Barnes has seen it all, heard it all as he leads his team here at Lexington. They are 11-4 on the season, 2-2 in league play. And again, the defense has been outstanding. They are second per KenPom in defensive efficiency, but sometimes they struggle to put the ball in the basket.
Big matchup, Vescovy guarding Ty Washington, and Washington has been really efficient of late. Had that 17-assist game when Xavier Wheeler was out against Georgia.
We mentioned Wheeler back in. That's him with the ball. The transfer from Georgia off the glass and good.
I think Wheeler has improved that shot since 5th grade when he and Chandler played together. But Wheeler is a disruptive force on the defensive end, as well as being the engine of the transition game for Kentucky.
Yeah, if you like quick guards, there are a number of them in this game today. Chandler knocks down the three.
A great pass out by Fulkerson, and those are the shots that Tennessee has to hit. Last 5 games, Tennessee's only hit over 40% in one of those games.
Wheeler all the way to the bucket. No help defense there for Tennessee.
And Kennedy Chandler holding his arms out saying, hey, what the heck? Little help, please. Yeah, he's trying to send them to one side and just opened up a lane to the basket. Nobody came over to block or challenge that shot.
Josiah Jordan James off a screen, and Tshiebwe with the first of many. In transition, Brooks, Kellen Grady. Grady at 45% from beyond the arc on the season. Kentucky by 4. And a turnover. Grady again.
Those are 2 transition threes in a row. Kentucky gets the ball up court so quickly.
The Cats haven't missed a shot. 5 for 5, including a couple of threes by Grady. Chandler creates some space. Wide right. Kentucky ball. And Chandler steals it, but then all he can do is throw it down the court. Fortunate for Kentucky, it gets out of bounds before Vescovy gets there.
When Xavier Wheeler was out, Kentucky would get the ball up court through a pass advance. He's more of a dribble advance guy. Gets up just as quickly, but Kellen Grady has been shooting the ball so well of late. Yeah, he struggled the last 2 games, 2 of 10 from 3, but the 5 games prior, he was 24 of 43. He's really quickened up that release. And if you don't make him put the ball on the deck and he gets his feet set, you might as well count it.
John Calipari pulled him aside a few weeks ago and he said, listen, if you're open and you don't shoot, you're coming out. And that's what every shooter wants to hear. And ever since then, Grady's kind of taken off.
I think every player would like to hear that.
Travel on Keon Brooks. Grady, a guy very familiar to Rick Barnes and Tennessee. Tennessee has a closed scrimmage every year with Davidson. Rick Barnes and Bob McKillop are very close friends. So Grady, of course, spent 4 years at Davidson, scored better than 2,000 points. So he played in a close scrimmage 4 times against the Vols. Zakai Ziegler into the game for Tennessee, the freshman from Long Island, as Fulkerson is fouled by Tshiebwe. Speaking of Tshiebwe, when we come back, he's going 94 feet with Jay Billis.
That's better than player of the year, isn't it?
Yeah. Lateral move.
94 feet with Kentucky's Oscar Tshiebwe. Oscar, you speak 6 languages. What are they?
I speak Swahili, Lingala, French, Kasai, Kikongo, and English.
How did you learn English? What were the best techniques?
The English, reading book and spending a lot of time with the little kids.
And what was your first meal when you got to the United States?
When I first got to the U.S., my first meal was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You still eat it?
I still eat it. That's probably the best chicken out there.
What did soccer do to help your basketball?
Soccer helped me with catch the ball and move my feet.
You know, it's nice up here. I've never been this high. What's it like up here?
It is really nice out here, but I need a lot of effort to be out here.
94 feet, that's 28.65 meters.
I see what you did there. Glass cleaner, the whole thing. I get it.
Well, he actually spoke very eloquently about rebounding and the art of rebounding. And see the company he's keeping, averaging 15 rebounds per game. But he talked about the angles of the shot and really almost like the analytics, that if a shot goes up from the right, 75% of the misses are going to come off to the left side. So playing for Bob Huggins for so long, he positions himself extraordinarily well. He does it not just with his effort and his talent, he does it with his smarts.
And he's got another one. Averaging 15 rebounds per game, set a Rupp record with 28 a few weeks ago against Western Kentucky.
That's the first miss, I think, for Kentucky right there.
Tshiebwe runs one down at the offensive end, gets him a fresh possession. Ty Washington makes it pay off.
And that just can't happen for Tennessee, to give up 2 offensive boards like that.
And right as it happened, Rick Barnes sent Uros Plavcic to the scorer's table. They're bringing in the big fella to try to clean things up on the defensive glass. Santiago Vescovi, the junior from Uruguay, with a much-needed bucket for the Vols.
That's his 43rd 3 on the season. And Vescovi is a key player in this game because he's a point guard that can shoot it, but he's also got a great shot fake, sidestep.
And he comes up with the steal. Gets it right back from Ziegler. Thought about it. Crowd wanted to travel.
They probably should have pulled the trigger on that. It might be the best shot they can get.
Ziegler back into the post to Kamwa. He's trying to bully Tshiebwe, and that's just not going to work as we check in with Holly Rowe again.
You're talking about Oscar Tshiebwe and his ability to get those rebounds. Part of it is he's an explosive athlete at 6'9", 255, but they have been working on him with what they call recruiting his fast twitch muscles. Rob Harris said everything we do in the weight room is with strength but speed. Those reps, moving the bar fast, have to be speed to get that fast twitch going for him. It's very, very impressive.
So strong, fast, athletic, and also analytically inclined when it comes to getting rebounds. It sounds like he's the whole package, Jay, on the glass.
Well, other than those factors, he doesn't have much going for him on rebounding.
By the way, what was it like for you to have your head at the rim during that session?
Hey.
Grady can't turn the corner. Jacob Toppin is into the game for Kentucky. Davion Mintz as well.
Toppin was great at LSU.
Tshiebwe battling for it, but saved by Vescovi, and now a foul on Toppin.
Toppin is an extraordinary athlete, but after all of the issues that Kentucky had at LSU with Tshiebwe Wheeler going out with that injury, Tshiebwe in foul trouble. He came into the game, had 13 points in the first half, and Kentucky had a great opportunity to win that game, even with all the adversity they faced.
Yeah, Ty Washington had some cramps down the stretch as well, and they only lost by 5 on the road. Their other 2 losses in the Champions Classic to Duke, and then up in South Bend by 4 to the Irish.
Boy, Kentucky, there's that shot fake and sidestep we talked about. But Kentucky's doing a very good job on all of Tennessee's cuts to the basket. They are making Tennessee run straight through their chest. Shot fake, and Wheeler just grabs him there because that would have been a sidestep and an easy 3-point opportunity. And you always have to be aware closing out of Vescovi that he is a great shot fake guy.
A very savvy player who showed up in the middle of the season 2 years ago and almost immediately stepped into the starting lineup for the Vols. Now with a lot more time under his belt in the program, he has become a terrific player. Off a screen, a miss there by Victor Bailey Jr. and back come the Cats.
And look at Tshiebwe run, get that early post position and an angle.
The kick to Mintz, but a whistle beforehand. And a foul down low. I think they got Plavcic.
That puts a tremendous amount of pressure. The way that Oscar Tshiebwe changes ends. He grabs the rebound, takes a couple dribbles, and he just explodes out. His first 2 steps are big time. Gives it up, and then look at him go. And all of a sudden, Plavcic is behind him. He gets an angle in the post, and there's nothing to do but foul him or watch him score.
Mintz gets by Ziegler. Up top to Tshiebwe.
What a great drive by Davion Mintz, who has been at his best the last 3 games.
And there's some of that Toppin athleticism.
Well, this is the Kentucky team that I think we all expected to see. And this team, even though they're older, they're not yet older together. But they are getting together, and I think playing better and better.
13-3 on the season, 3-1 in league play. A lot of offensive weapons for John Calipari with this group, which is a much older group than he typically has.
That's the oldest team they've ever had.
Yeah.
Great cut.
And the bucket for Chandler on the feed from Plavsic.
Chandler looked like he was coming off for a handoff just above the elbow and came off shoulder to shoulder, rubbed his defender off, and they just threw over the top. You got to have more pressure on that pass to take it away. Otherwise, they can pick you apart. So watch Chandler. He's going to give it up to Plavsic right here and then just cut right off him, shoulder to shoulder. Washington trailing the play. And Tshiebwe's either got to put way more pressure on the ball, or he's got to give him a little bump because the officials have not been calling bumps this year.
Washington using the Tshiebwe screen, 8 on the shot clock. Tshiebwe over Plavsic, not there, and coming down for the rebound, Chandler.
Plavsic doing a good job just making Tshiebwe shoot over the top. It was single coverage in the post.
Plavsic 7 foot, 251. James, and it will go to bring Tennessee back within 3.
Boy, Josiah Jordan-James needed that. He's only shooting 24% from 3. He's a much better shooter than that.
Tshiebwe over Plavsic.
His hands are like vice grips. He goes after every ball with 2 hands. It's very rare you'll see him go after it with 1.
How about the speed of Zakai Ziegler, who continues to impress not only Tennessee fans, but Rick Barnes and the rest of the coaching staff as well.
Just a great competitor and super tough.
Back cut, tie Washington.
Well, that's how you handle teams that get out in passing lanes. You have got the back cut. Step and go.
Wide right as James misses this one, and it's out of bounds to the Vols. Tennessee point guard Kennedy Chandler, a prize recruit, as we take a look at the former McDonald's All-American, 2-time Mr. Basketball in the state of Tennessee, and the top-ranked incoming freshman at point guard in this class. For more on him, once again, here's Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, if you see Kennedy Chandler in person, you might think, wow, he's undersized at 6 feet, but he's taking great hope that there's a lot of great undersized NBA players. He's good friends, played AAU with Darius Garland. John Morant, he's gotten some run with after he got drafted by the Grizzlies. They keep in touch. And some great tweets when he signed. Trae Young knows what it means to represent your home state. It's really cool because I actually tipped Darius Garland's first triple-double this week in the NBA. And you see these small players, undersized guys, they are thriving right now. John Morant may be the most exciting player in all of basketball. It's fun to see, and he takes great hope that he can be one of those guys one day.
Yeah, 10, 15 years ago, an undersized guard would have a tough time getting drafted in a good spot and making it in the NBA. But since the NBA went through their freedom of movement initiative, well, you're seeing smaller guards do extraordinarily well. And so that's something college basketball has tried to do, but is failing miserably.
A Tennessee turnover, Kentucky leading by 5. And a great matchup of speed right now with Wheeler and Ziegler. Brooks from the corner. It's a long 2.
Right, the one thing that Tennessee doesn't want to do is let Keon Brooks get going early. If you can keep him down early, you can perhaps keep him down for most of the game. But when he gets off to a good start, he's a much more confident and aggressive player. Good pass.
Vescovi wide open, and he'll knock it down. This is the 3-guard or 3-point guard look, if you will, for Rick Barnes, with Chandler, Ziegler, and Vescovi. And it's a lineup he really seems to like putting out there.
Well, they're better defensively. They can score a little bit better, but they're not as good on the glass. You can't send as many to the offensive boards, but that may help them get back a little bit.
Wheeler being pressured, finds Washington. Pull up, and he got fouled.
Boy, he is a baller, man. What a mature game Ty Washington has for just a teenager. It's amazing.
Got a doubleheader coming your way. Super Tuesday. It begins out in Big 12 country. It's Kansas at Oklahoma at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then at 9 Eastern an ACC matchup as the Duke Blue Devils will be in Tallahassee. Both games are on ESPN and the app. One app, one tap.
You know, Ty Washington, I think he's a complete player. In his last 2 games, he's averaging 16 points, 11 assists, and just 2 turnovers. And he had that outstanding 17 assists, 17-point game against Georgia when he had to fill in for Tshiebwe Wheeler, who's out with that neck injury. Just showed his versatility, his range as an athlete, and his competitive spirit.
Knocks them both down. Wheeler back in there now, so they've got 2 outstanding guards in the backcourt. Good ball pressure on Vescovi. He needs some help. Finally gets it over, but in a tough spot, and it's turned over. Wheeler to Lance Ware for the flush. Boy, they were in trouble from the moment that ball came inbounds.
And it was all Ty Washington. You know, we talked about complete player, and he shows excellent defensive chops as well. Well, this is the best I've seen Kentucky's defense look all season, and it's looked good.
Ball is deflected into the backcourt. Shot clock at 6.
Got a switch now.
Chandler using the screen and buries it.
He is such a smart player. There was no panic in him at all. Had the switch, they switched back, and that shot fake as the shot clock was going down, that was brilliant by Kennedy Chandler.
And you see it in both of these freshman guards. You just talked about Washington. Both of them play the game with a maturity beyond their years.
No question. But the smarts is really impressive.
Count it for Davion Mintz.
What a difference in Davion Mintz over his last few games. He struggled to shoot the ball earlier in the season. He's 10 of his first 37 from 3. He's 11 of his last 20. And that, when you have to go out and guard that opens up his ability to shot fake and drive and attack a closeout. Boy, Kennedy Chandler, that is a big time play, especially on the road in this difficult environment.
Mintz 23 years of age, as we got all kinds of people in the lane early.
That was Lance Ware.
Yeah.
But this is something I think should change in basketball. Who cares about a lane violation if the shot goes in? It doesn't matter. If the shot doesn't go in, then the violating team give it to the other team.
You want to give them the ball.
They should get the ball because that affects the rebound. It does not affect the free throw. That's something that should have been changed a million years ago, and we've never addressed it.
Chandler burst to speed. And high off the glass and good.
The screen was out top, and it was a backward screen. So the screener wasn't facing the action. That way he could get to the rim and rebound it. What a great play by Kennedy Chandler.
And then Tshiebwe Wheeler with the answer to the other end.
Boy, there is nothing but speed from these 2 point guards.
Now Vescovi brings it up. Washington on him and a foul away from the ball.
Kennedy Chandler just gets a high screen, and the screen is essentially backwards. He just comes off his back. That way you could try to get to the rim. And just a great play going high off the board. And this is just a blow-by. The tremendous speed of Tshiebwe Wheeler, who led the Southeastern Conference in assists when he was at Georgia. But he was not talked about as much as a Bulldog as he is as a Wildcat. It's really amazing how his profile has shot up wearing blue.
Lance Ware just picked up 2 quick fouls. He goes out, and Oscar Tshiebwe back in. Justin Powell with the ball for Tennessee. Boy, would Rick Barnes love to see him get going and knock down some shots.
Yeah, the transfer from Auburn. He's more of a catch and shoot guy, so defenses are trying to run him off that line.
He'll get a look here. And he'll bury it. The assist to John Fulkerson.
Fulkerson has done a good job passing out of drives. You know, he's drawing defense and then passing out of it. And when Powell gets his feet set, he drills it. But defenses are making him put it on the deck.
Wheeler fouled on the drive, and so far they've had a really tough time keeping him out of the lane.
Fulkerson with the little screen, and then he slips out of it. And instead of going up for it, maybe getting a charge, that was a good little drive and baseline drift by Powell to get that catch and shoot opportunity. You know, against Notre Dame, you know, Kentucky was facing a team in the Irish that was playing 8 to 10 feet off of Xavier Wheeler. And since then, Wheeler's done a really good job of taking up that space. And he's looking to drive it more. I still think defense is needed when he drives it. Make him finish it. Don't let him pass it. Make him finish it.
He's actually driving to pass more often than not, don't you think?
I think that's in his mindset, and that's in his makeup. But because of his size, I say make him finish the tough 2 rather than let him dish it off for an easier one.
He's not a three-point shooter, just 4 for 23 on the season. But boy, can he get by people and set up his teammates. Kamwa. And coming down to help was Washington, who's done a little bit of everything in this game already.
And he didn't just come down to help. He came down to steal the ball and went after it with both hands. When the Billustrator speaks, nobody listens. But listen to this one. Watch Oscar Tshiebwe here. Great block out on John Fulkerson. Two-handed rebound. And then an immediate outlet to Xavier Wheeler, who looks to pass ahead. Now, terrific pass. Now, this is a transition 3. You got Tennessee in scramble. Kellen Grady knocks it down. Then watch this great drive by Davion Mintz. When Plavsic comes over to help stop the drive, he just throws it right up to Tshiebwe, who positioned himself beautifully on the opposite side of the lane. Kentucky firing on all cylinders. Only 4 rebounds so far? That's impossible. But the real story, the breaking news is I was just brought soft serve ice cream during the timeout here at Rupp Arena, which is a tradition unlike any other.
And most of the reason you agree to do games here at Rupp is because you know the ice cream is coming.
No, I don't know if it's the #1 reason, but it's top 5. This will not last much longer, I promise you that. Because of this, Dan, you will get silence for a short period of time. Congratulations.
Oh, so it's a win-win. Kentucky by 7. How about this, Jay? They are shooting 13 of 17, 76% from the field. I know you've got ice cream. You can grunt once if you approve, twice if you disapprove.
Well, a lot of that has been their defensive intensity. What a grab.
Wow.
What a grab.
Toppin over Ziegler.
Runs in the family. As most people know, he is the younger brother of Obi Toppin, great player, National Player of the Year at Dayton, and now with the New York Knicks.
Powell off the back of the iron, saved by Kamwa, but into the hands of Wheeler, and the Cats are running. Washington. Oh, and what a play by Vescovi to take away a sure layup.
Well, we are seeing some hands in this game on both ends of the floor.
Well, Vescovi might have gotten away with a little discard there with the left elbow.
International basketball, Dan Shulman.
Kamwa. And it will go. Somehow got it over Tshiebwe. And look at the steal now by Powell, but he stepped out of bounds.
Well, even though Powell wasn't able to save it, a great play to take away Kentucky's transition. That pass ahead action is so difficult to deal with. You feel like you're in scramble mode all game long.
Again, the Vols have had success recently at Rupp. They've won the last 2 here, 3 of the last 4 since Rick Barnes got to Tennessee. He is 8-6 against Kentucky.
A little horn set right now for Kentucky.
Wheeler the jumper. Toppin the rebound. Mintz the flush. Wow.
Davion Mintz has been a different player the last 4 games. Just so confident and aggressive. And give the officials credit there. You know, years past, we would get some stupid hanging on the rim thing. And they've let that stuff go this year, and it's made the game so much better.
James from the corner, and the threes are falling for the Vols to keep them in the game.
And they need those to fall, especially from Josiah Jordan-James.
Wheeler looking for help, finds Toppin.
Good job by James to close out short. He knew that Toppin wasn't going to shoot it.
And a 3-second call. Our January sports calendar rolls on tomorrow with the Spanish Super Cup final, and then the start of the Australian Open tomorrow evening as well. Of course, it is Monday night wild card playoff night, as it'll be the Cardinals and the Rams Monday Night Football, and then UFC 270 on Saturday the 22nd. A little bit of everything coming up on the family of networks.
Yeah, Super Cup in Spanish is Super Copa. You're welcome.
Fulkerson, Tshiebwe got a piece of it. Wheeler right down the guts of the defense, called for the charge.
Well, somebody fell down, so it's automatically a charge.
Number 2 on Xavier Wheeler, so that's a big call.
It's also a bad call.
Yeah, it looked like he was sliding, and the left heel might have been in the cylinder as well, and that may sit Wheeler down, will sit Wheeler down in all likelihood for the rest of the half.
The overwhelming majority of charges on secondary defenders are actually blocks, but the overwhelming majority are called charges.
Kept alive by James, but out of bounds. Your ice cream's melting a little bit, too.
It's all this talking stuff is getting in the way of what I should be doing.
Yes.
It shows what a great professional I am. Another great hand play by Ty Washington to make that catch.
And give him an assist on the 3 from Mintz.
Grady, Washington, and Mintz. They have the overwhelming majority of threes that have been made by Kentucky. You help on the drive. All of a sudden, Davion Mintz, the transfer from Creighton, gets his feet set. Another 3 for Kentucky.
As Jay mentioned earlier, Davion Mintz did not have a great start to the season, but kind of about the time where Xavier Wheeler got hurt, Mintz got a lot more minutes, got his shot going, and I mean, he's a proven player with Creighton, and again, last year was the leading scorer for the Cats at 11.5 points per game, and now a 3-guard rotation of Wheeler, Washington, and Mintz, with usually 2 of them in the game at any time. What a luxury for John Calipari.
Yeah, he says it can't rain forever, but now he's raining threes.
Ziegler cut off by Tshiebwe.
Good fake.
And Vescovi knocks it down.
That is not an easy shot, but that little shot fake, ball fake he got when he caught it was what made that drive.
2 of the 5 ranked teams in the SEC, of course. Auburn, LSU, Alabama are the others. Kentucky coming in ranked 18th. Tennessee 22nd. Brooks no. Rebound Vescovi. They're only down 7 with 4 minutes to go here in the first half.
I think this is a good lineup for Tennessee. Puts a little more scoring punch on the floor and tremendous quickness at the guard spot.
It won't go for Vescovi. Kept alive by Fulkerson, but it belongs to the Cats.
Washington looks so comfortable when he's running the team at the point now.
Tshiebwe, he's been making this. He has added that to his game this year.
Well, that shot would have been unthinkable for Oscar Tshiebwe at West Virginia, but he has really extended that range out.
And another rebound for the big fella. He came into the season, he said, I want to average 20 boards a game, and everybody laughed because that's unthinkable. But you know what? He's at 15, which is borderline unthinkable, but he's had monster numbers on the glass.
He's been the best rebounder in the country. It's not even close.
Offensive foul. Number 2, Jay, on Tshiebwe.
That'll probably be it for the half for Oscar Tshiebwe, but Tshiebwe is such a force, and now you have to guard him from 17 feet and in. That is pretty good, Seth. It's not as good as Rupp Arena ice cream, which they brought me a couple of breaks ago. But you know, you can tell what Kentucky values because they brought one to me, but not one to Dan Schulman. So I've been spending the breaks telling him exactly how delicious it was. And I think my description was just as good as having it.
Absolutely. Makes me feel that much better. Kellen Grady just got caught in the chin, it looks like, and then he got called for the foul as well. And Vescovi good at initiating contact, and he will go to the free throw line. Kentucky's going to go the rest of the first half, Jay, without Xavier Wheeler and without Oscar Tshiebwe, each on the bench with 2 fouls.
Yeah, John Calipari throughout his career has always taken players out, especially when they're in a good position on the scoreboard. if they've got 2 fouls until halftime, just to save them for the second half. But to Seth Greenberg's point, Kentucky right now leading 22-10 in paint points. One of the reasons is Kentucky has done a really good job of making Tennessee go through their chest. So they're not giving them angles to get into the lane, not just when they have the ball, but when they're cutting. They kind of jump in front of them. All of a sudden, you got to run through their chest and then run around them. And that's really disrupted a lot of the timing for Tennessee in the half court.
How do you size up the top part of the league? These two teams, Auburn, LSU, Alabama's got a good team as well. How do you size up, say, the top 4 or 5 in the league?
I think that the Southeastern Conference is the best league in the country. And it's very balanced and excellent at the top. I think Auburn and Kentucky are the 2 best teams in the league. But LSU's fantastic on defense, and they're ultra athletic. Another great shot fake by Vescovi.
Powell, no. And down to Brooks. Kentucky is at Texas A&M on the SEC Network Wednesday night. Aggies are off to a 3-0 start in league play. Then they're at Auburn next weekend, and obviously what is a monster game.
Well, how about those last 2 plays by Ty Washington? What a luxury when Xavier Wheeler has 2 fouls that Washington steps in seamlessly and runs the team and still attacks on the offensive end.
Great patience by Chandler, waiting for space to create a little bit, and he banks it home.
Chandler is so good off screen and roll situations. He's got a great sense for it and reads it extraordinarily well. And his pace is really good. He doesn't just blast off it. He reads the secondary and sometimes tertiary defender.
Love when you use the word tertiary. Brooks. Just you never get beyond tertiary. What's next?
You don't need to. Fourth-iary. Yeah, the fourth-iary and fifth-iary defenders are the problem.
I think you're having brain freeze from the ice cream right now.
It's worth it.
Chandler somehow got that pass through, but eventually stolen away.
Thought Brooks was going to get the first one, but he got the second one.
And the right guy in the right spot for the 3 for Kentucky.
Kellen Grady's eyes got so big, just ran to that 3-point line.
They've put up 50.5 on a team that has only allowed 60.7 points per game on the season. And they're looking for more.
This has been an inspired performance by the Kentucky Wildcats. And I think the late, great Joe B. Hall would be very proud.
A timeout for John Calipari. Kentucky turning defense into offense, challenging every shot, challenging every pass. And then when Kellen Grady is open, good things tend to happen for Big Blue Nation. Welcome back. For the first time ever, a regular season NCAA gymnastics meet is on ABC. And it's a great matchup. Perennial powers, Alabama and Florida. Tomorrow afternoon, coverage starts at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app.
Holly Rowe talked about fast twitch. Those are some fast twitch athletes.
How much fun is Kellen Grady having? Had an outstanding 4 years for Bob McKillop at Davidson. Well over 200 threes, over 2,000 points, a 4-year starter, and boy, is he playing well right now for Kentucky.
And he might very well have stayed, but Davidson doesn't have graduate programs. But I think he made the right choice. He's been a tremendous addition here.
Washington having a sensational first half.
He's got everything. He is just a playmaker, shot maker.
Josiah Jordan-James, yes, at the buzzer for the Vols.
Boy, what a great answer by Tennessee.
A 14-point lead. Again, Tennessee gives up just under 61 points per game. On the season, they've allowed 52 in the first half. Kentucky shooting a preposterous 78%. Here's Holly Rowe with John Calipari.
Well, Coach, Tennessee's the #2 defense in the nation. How are you being so balanced offensively and really flourishing?
Well, what they do, and they're really good at it, is they deny wing passes, which means they're going to spread out, which means you've got to have some courage and drive the ball and take shots. You can't do what Xavier did. We shoot floaters. He ran the guy over with a three-point shooter in the corner. You're going to have to find guys. I think Rick will adjust. They're going to play a little bit tighter. That's fine. This game, it's going to be on who wins the backboard. That's what it is, because this is literally a fist fight. It's a rock fight.
Good thing you've got Oscar Tshiebwe then, right?
Yo.
Well, a lot to like for John Calipari, up 14.5. Back to the studio. Kevin, take it away. Welcome back to Saturday Primetime, presented by H&R Block. This is the SEC on ESPN. Outstanding first half for Kentucky at the offensive end. Nobody did better than Ty Washington. 14 points, 6 of 7 from the field. Kennedy Chandler did what he could to keep Tennessee close, but it's the Wildcats by 14 going to the second half. Welcome back to Rupp Arena. Dan Shulman and Jay Billis. If you're a fan of the Wildcats, Jay, a lot to like about the first 20 minutes.
Well, Tennessee shot 53% in the first half, scored 38 points, and they're down 14. I thought Kentucky was magnificent. Shot 78% in that first half, and they did a good job of going against the Tennessee pressure by driving it. Oscar Tshiebwe drawing 2 defenders, and then Ty Washington's going to reverse the ball. They get it to Xavier Wheeler into a little pick and roll action from the corner, and Wheeler just hesitates, then gets downhill all the way to the basket. 24 points in the paint in the first half for Kentucky to only 12 for Tennessee, and Kentucky scored 17 points off of turnovers. Tennessee had 10 turnovers in the first half, so you're going to have to see Tennessee take a little bit better care of the ball, and they're going to have to do a better job on the defensive end.
Let's send it to Holly Rowe.
Well, Jay Billis, that's exactly what Rick Barnes just told me. He said it's all about the ball. Number one, we've got to contain the ball better. They're getting downhill, and we're not doing a good enough job contesting that. But there's no defense for turnovers. They've scored 17 off of our turnovers. If we do a better job defensively on the ball and hold on to the ball ourselves, that should be a better story.
Yeah, Holly, that's a great point. I mean, it is so difficult to get out and pressure really good handlers because they can get by you and then they put you into rotation. And once you're in rotation, all of a sudden Kentucky, a very good passing team, is finding open shooters.
John Fulkerson misses his first attempt of the second half. Fulkerson has not scored in the game, has not had a rebound in the game in 14 minutes of action.
And to Holly's point, you've got to make Kentucky play a half-court game. Then you've got a chance to beat them. If they're out in transition, and you're going to be in transition if you get turnovers, then you're done.
Nice two-man basketball between Vescovy and Chandler, but Vescovy leaves it short. Look at the speed. Wheeler to Washington. And a foul, and it's going against Tennessee. Washington heading to the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, a block has been called in college basketball.
Kennedy Chandler looking up at the scoreboard, looking for a replay. Not sure he is buying the call.
Normally that's called a charge, and it's not.
So here is Washington, the freshman from Phoenix. Again, the Kentucky record, 17 assists against Georgia last week, one of the games that Wheeler missed.
How about that? 17 assists. So Xavier Wheeler goes out, who was leading the Southeastern Conference in assists for the second straight year. Third in the nation in assists, and the engine for this team.
Yeah.
And the concern is, what is Kentucky going to do without Xavier Wheeler? And Ty Washington sets a record for assists in the first game.
Not bad. Set the bar pretty high, didn't he? Chandler got Wheeler in the air and then through to Vescovy, who was diving to the bucket, and it's a turnover.
Well, guys, Xavier Wheeler actually said something funny to me yesterday when I said, are you coming back? He's like, yeah, but they didn't really miss me. It kind of hurt his feelings a little bit that Kentucky did so well when he was gone. I know they need him, but he was really proud of how Ty stepped up in his absence, what you're talking about.
Well, one of the differences when Wheeler's in there is you can play often. So at times you can clog things up. He made that shot, but he's not known as a shooter. His percentages certainly reflect that. Great job by Wheeler, almost got a steal. But with Washington in the game and you put in Davion Mintz, now all of a sudden you got to extend your defense.
Kennedy Chandler bangs home a three.
Well, he is just a great young guard. He was magnificent against Colorado. Had 27 points against the Buffaloes in that altitude. And he was just magical on pick and roll situations, made every right decision. And he's 3rd in the league in assists, average over 5 a game, and his assist turnover ratio is terrific.
7th made 3 of the game for Tennessee. And here's the answer from Washington at the other end with a long 2.
What do you do? I mean, you're playing him to turn the corner. If you don't handle that pick and roll situation, he pulls up and knocks down the shot. He's got everything.
Tom with a step in, good cut by Vescovi.
Anytime you're in the corner, there's a drive, you're going to see a cut. And that was a really nice cut by Santiago Vescovi. He's such a smart player.
Played for his country in the summer for Uruguay in an Olympic qualifier. Corner 3 for Grady, and a chance for one more.
His movement without the ball is next level. I mean, his ability to get to that spot off the drive. He was much higher on the floor and just repositioned himself. Then he was much tougher for Josiah Jordan James to close out on. And Jordan James wound up fouling him. But Kellen Grady, he played mostly motion offense at Davidson. And they were a little more deliberate. They don't shoot the ball as quickly as Kentucky does. So he had to speed everything up. But really smart moving without the basketball.
Well, you know, when he made the decision to come to Kentucky, he knew it would be a lesser role because he was the guy at Davidson with over 2,000 points. But he said, I've been very happy with my role here. He knows he can come in, hit those threes. He said, I'm very happy. I'm proving to myself I can play at the highest level.
Well, anybody that saw him play at Davidson knew he could do that. He was an NBA player at Davidson. But the COVID year allowed him the choice to play another year of college basketball. He just couldn't do it at Davidson because they don't have graduate programs. But he was recruited he came out of Boston and was a heck of a high school player. With his size and his ability to shoot the ball, he's an NBA player.
And just one of many weapons that John Calipari has. We talk about the experience, all the transfers they've got. They're an older team. 2 great point guards, a lot of depth in the backcourt, the best rebounder of the nation, and an outstanding shooter in Kellen Grady. There are a lot of good pieces on this Kentucky team. Here they come again. Grady shovels it to Wheeler.
Just brilliant by Ty Washington. Had to negotiate a screen right around midcourt and was able to stick with the play and knock that ball away from Vescovi. That was a great defensive play by Ty Washington.
Vescovi banks it home at the other end. Kentucky at 64 points already. Make it 67 against, again, what statistically has been the 2nd best defensive team in the nation this year. Not today.
Ty Washington has taken over this game. Great job to reach behind and tap that away, then runs right to the 3-point line. Wheeler, well, this was the layup, but he runs right to the 3-point line on the next play and winds up making a great defensive play, then getting a transition 3. It's all about Ty.
Wow, so 3 ranked teams, guys, thank you, have already lost today. Texas Tech losing it to Kansas State by 11, right on the heels, Jay, of about as good a week as a college program can have.
Yeah, it's a great win for Kansas State, but Seth Greenberg's right. The turnover problems for Michigan State reared their head against Northwestern in a 1-possession game. You turned it over 17 times. You cannot defend those runouts, and Michigan State's going to have to clean that up.
If you're just joining us, Kentucky making quite the statement so far today. 67 points, 4 minutes into the second half. Kamwa, the nice feed from Powell.
Really the first time that you've seen Tennessee really be able to run its offense. You know, the staggers, wrapping that first screen, reversing the ball and getting something easy.
Wheeler with a floater, soft touch.
Well, Kentucky really works on that, shooting those floaters so you don't take it all the way, pick up a charge. Right now with this lineup, Tennessee's been able to make passes around the perimeter a lot easier. And they're looking to back cut.
Vescovi the spin, and it's blocked by Grady. Great defensive play.
Well, it looked like he stepped out of bounds, but it was a great play defensively. That's where 6'5" and moving your feet really helps. Good shot fake.
Now the kick. Toppin thought about the 3. And then Kamwa blocks the shot attempt of Grady.
Yeah, just a little bit too slow. That's where a shot fake would have helped Kellen Grady in the corner.
Powell left alone and knocks down his second three of the game.
It's all about getting his feet set. Just gave a little fake. Kentucky backed up, gave him that room. Kentucky going in their horns down set. 2 up top, 2 in the corners. So you roll off the first one, easy bucket.
Wheeler with a beautiful left-handed bounce pass into Toppin.
That's got to drive Rick Barnes crazy. I think they were expecting the second action, got scored on the first.
And now another Tennessee turnover. Whoop. He got lucky that Tshiebwe was in the neighborhood there.
That wasn't luck. He knew that Oscar would get it for him. When the ball's around Oscar, he gets it.
Wheeler for 3. And it's been that kind of an afternoon for the Wildcats.
That's when you know it's your day. That's his 5th 3 on the season. He was shooting 17% coming into this game from 3.
Kamwa over a double team. No. Tshiebwe another rebound.
Both hands again.
And a reach-in foul on Vescovy. What an afternoon so far for Kentucky, led by the freshman Ty Washington Jr. with a season-high 21 points.
4 times the SEC Freshman of the Week, 3 times in a row. I think he's looking at 4 times in a row. Last time 3 times in a row was Devin Booker. Things worked out well for him.
They want to develop programs and keep building awareness in this community with leadership, community building, and civic dialogue that's open to all students, facility staff, and community members. Thank you so much, Jamal. That is fantastic, and we hope to continue that great work that Dr. King started.
Holly, thank you for sharing that. We know Kellen Grady. We've talked about him a lot today as a basketball player, but he's also launched an initiative here in Lexington called College Athletes for Respect and Equality, or CARE for short. And the goal is to have athletes, Jay, go to elementary schools and really try to educate young students by reading age-appropriate books to them about racial inequality and trying to keep the message flowing to the younger generation.
Well, so many of these athletes, Kellen Grady is just a fantastic young man, but so socially aware and active in the communities, and you applaud it. Whenever that ball is grabbed, I think the ball knows when it's Tshiebwe, because they're going, wait a minute, 2 hands exactly at the same time. It's Oscar.
Number 10 on the season for Tshiebwe. 10 on the season, 10 on the game, excuse me. 10th rebound in the game for Tshiebwe.
He wouldn't be a very good rebounder if it was 10 on the season.
Yeah, if it was 10 on the season, we'd be accused of making a whole lot out of nothing. 10 in the game. And now 8 points, so he's 2 points away from what will be or would be his 13th double-double. And this is the 17th game of the season for the Wildcats.
Well, with the Wildcats playing like this against a very good team in Tennessee, you start to wonder, what team can they not beat with this type of play? And the answer is nobody.
If they play this well, they can hang with anybody as Mintz hits a 3 and then gets called for a foul at the other end.
Yeah, Mintz just moved just a bit and ticked Chandler as he was leaving the floor. Chandler was able to slip that charge, but Mintz moved just to his right and caught a piece of it. Yes, people would consider that, well, people in blue would consider that incidental contact, but that's a shooter. And those kind of fouls on both ends are perfectly appropriate.
Rick Barnes prides his teams on playing well defensively. And film session tomorrow or Monday, whenever it comes, is going to be a little bit unpleasant for his players, having allowed 79 points already. Kentucky, Jay, is 32 for 41. 32 for 41 from the field, 79%.
Well, I think you mentioned to me at halftime that they shot in the first half the exact same percentage and the exact same field goal and field goal attempt number that Villanova did against Georgetown in 1985 in the title game.
Yeah, 22 for 28. What Villanova did in that game, Kentucky did in the first half.
And that was in this building. Villanova beat Georgetown in Rupp Arena.
So soft rims, you're saying?
Soft rims and soft serve.
Well, Kentucky's next game is against Texas A&M. The Aggies off to a good start in league play. They are 3-0 Wednesday night, 8:30 on the SEC network. The SEC network, by the way, has a quadruple header of action later today and tonight.
Well, Texas A&M forces a ton of turnovers. Like that. Bryce Hopkins going to get called with a foul because he went across the arm of Josiah Jordan-James.
If you can keep going, they brought me my ice cream now.
After all your whining. My God, you whine on national television about ice cream.
Yeah.
Have a little dignity.
I'm only doing this because I'm told they brought Holly one as well. It's a team sport, and I'm only having this because I'm under the impression Holly's getting one as well.
Well, I usually get one per half, but after all your whining, I requested that let Dan have his.
Into the game, Jemai Mashak, and it's tipped up and in by Uroš Plavčić.
Jemai Mashak is going to be a good player. Athletic from California. He was all CIF in California, and you got to be a great.
Jabari Smith averaging 16 points per game. And Jabari Smith and Ty Washington each with 6 20-point games already in their freshman season.
And Jabari Smith, I agree with you. I think he may well be the #1 pick in the NBA draft. But Walker Kessler's made a huge difference in that defense with his shot blocking ability. He had a triple-double with blocks being the third of to go with rebounds and points. He just sends things back.
He is averaging over 4 blocks per game, which is an extraordinary number.
And that doesn't include all the shots that he changes around the rim. I was talking about that the other night watching Chet Holmgren at Gonzaga. That needs to be the next level stat we go to, are shot changes. Here's that horn set again, and another ball screen out top.
Washington, lob for Brooks. And a terrific defensive play there made by Josiah Jordan-James, who can guard just about any position on the court.
Yeah, Jordan-James is Tennessee's best defender. He can guard multiple spots, switch out on just about anybody, and contain the ball. Long and athletic.
You know, sometimes you look over to coach and you wonder if when they're really as displeased as they can get is when they stop talking to people, like when they stop getting on people. And Rick Barnes has been quieter here in the second half as Kentucky has pulled away.
Well, he wants, I think, to see how much fight his team is going to show this last 10 minutes of the game, excuse me, because on the scoreboard it's decided, but playing time going forward is not decided for Tennessee. Got a switch here.
Tshiebwe wants the ball, doesn't get it. 3 on the shot clock. Toppin doesn't know it. Grady gets it off, got the rim. Tshiebwe got the rebound, but missed the putback.
Well, John Calipari has told his team on more than one occasion they can't turn the ball over. You got to get a shot every time down. He says, hey, if we miss it, Oscar will go get it.
Right. Yeah, when in doubt, get it near the rim any way you can and let 34 go get it. Again, you talk about the transfers. Tshiebwe, who actually came into the program in January, didn't play last year, but practiced last year for the Wildcats. He's from West Virginia. Davidson, Grady, who spent 4 years at Davidson. Davion Mintz had a very strong career at Creighton. Xavier Wheeler at Georgia, and on it goes. Jacob Toppin from Rhode Island, and that doesn't even mention C.J. Frederick from Iowa, who had hamstring surgery, and it looks like he's not going to be able to play at all this season.
Yeah, Frederick would have added a ton to this team because he's an error-free wing that may have been the best post passer I saw all last year when he was playing at Iowa. He never turns the ball over, and there you're taking a look at Shaden Sharp, who is enrolled in school. He's in practice every day, should still be in high school. But you add him to this, and I'm not sure John Calipari is going to do that. I don't think he wants to put him in that position. But Shaden Sharp's got tremendous physical gifts, and he's incredibly skilled. He's going to be a great one.
He was the #1 ranked player in the class of 2022 before reclassifying and enrolling in Lexington from London, Ontario. And he was at practice yesterday. He did some things, not everything. Jay Lucas was with him a lot, kind of, showing him the ropes, talking about you do this here, you do that there. He's still getting up to speed on the system here in Lexington as Tshiebwe gets a big ovation as he goes to the bench. Let's bring in Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Coach Calipari, you said it. He wants to be very cautious, and he's not going to play him until he's ready. But he said if you want to see him on the court, get here early for warm-ups. So actually there were a ton of people, all the students, they do get here early anyway, but they were here watching him in warm-ups, and he put on a show. I loved it that before he ran off the floor, the last thing he did was a monster slam dunk for the fans. They went crazy. So he's going to be a bright spot when he does finally get in and play.
Well, a few years ago, you weren't even allowed to do that. You weren't allowed to dunk in warm-ups, and the NCAA finally wised up and allowed players to do that. The referees used to stand out here and make sure they didn't do it. It was really kind of silly.
Ziegler the miss. And eventually tipped back in by Brandon Huntley Hatfield, a freshman from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Huntley Hatfield reminds you a little bit of Naz Reid, played at LSU. He's got a good feel for the game. He's quick off the floor. He's going to be really good. Well, this is a great opportunity for Damian Collins of Kentucky to get some time in a game.
Foul on a three-point attempt there by Josiah Jordan-James, saying he got all ball. He definitely got ball, but I think he might have gotten body in the follow-through.
Yeah, this is one where you'd prefer a shot fake and drive, but he's going to go to the line. Jacob Toppin for 3 free throws. But this is his momentum carried him into it. The initial block was fine, but the one knock you may have on Kentucky is, well, they don't go all that deep. They really only go only 7 deep, and then Bryce Hopkins can come in and play some spot minutes. If John Calipari and his staff can develop this bench and get more out of Damian Collins, a little bit more out of Hopkins, out of Ware, that makes you that much better. And this is a great opportunity against good personnel to get some playing time. These guys would normally get more time against some of the lesser opponents that Kentucky plays.
Yep. And that again, getting back to Shaedon Sharpe, maybe could be where he fits in later in the season. Not a guy they are depending on for 25 or 30 minutes a game. Maybe a 10 to 12 minute guy off the bench when they need him.
I mean, if they could play him, that would be great. But I think I would call it unlikely.
Rebound comes back to Huntley Hatfield, and he immediately throws it to Kellen Grady. Kentucky's cooled off. They're down to 73% now.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Toppin. What a defensive play again. Josiah Jordan-James, just a stellar defender.
Yeah, he's battled some injuries and some difficulties throughout the course of the season, but I thought he was at his best against Colorado, where he's just a connector.
18th turnover committed by the Vols, and it's a run out at the other end.
And Dan, the break started with a pass advance. Ty Washington. Wheeler dribbles it up. Washington passes ahead. And that pass ahead just outpaced the defense, and just a really smart pass by Xavier Wheeler, because Grady didn't give up on the play either.
You guys, you talked about the great activism from Kellen Grady that he's doing here in this community, but he comes by, quite honestly, Kyle Tucker from The Athletic did an amazing article you should read about how his grandmother and grandfather were some of the greatest activists in South Africa with Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress. His grandfather actually had to flee the country under an assumed identity and live away for many years. His mom, Danielle, said, we used to worry about bombs under our cars. And Kellen said, I feel like my family's legacy has given me a great background for empathy and standing up for the underdog. He said, I'm very proud of my family. And his grandmother, Sophie Williams de Bruin, who is still in South Africa, one of the most famous activists of all time in that country.
Holly, thank you. It is an outstanding article and great insight into what makes Kellen Grady the young man that he is. Vescovi for 3. You know, other than the turnovers, and I know that's been a big problem, but there have been some good things at the offensive end for Tennessee, but they have just been shredded at the defensive end.
Well, Kentucky came out not only on fire on the offensive end, but they came out with a ton of energy together on the defensive end. They made things so difficult on Tennessee to get what they wanted. Tennessee still shot 53%, but they coughed it up 10 times. They got into a much faster game. And Tennessee wanted to make this a half-court game, and Kentucky would not allow it.
Ware called for the foul to take us to a timeout. 7:05 to go. 27-point lead for Kentucky. Big Blue Nation remembering Joby Hall today. The former coach of the Wildcats passed away this morning at the age of 93. Joby Hall was the head coach of the Kentucky men's basketball program from 1972 to 1985. He succeeded Adolph Rupp in that position. He won a national championship in 1978, 2 other Final Fours, and the National Coach of the Year in 1978 as well, and passed away this morning at the age of 93. Remembering an icon, John Calipari with a tweet today about Coach Joby Hall, calling him his friend, his mentor, and an icon in the state of Kentucky, somebody that you knew well and somebody who was a big presence at games here at Rupp Arena until just a couple of years ago. And always with a smile on his face and a kind word. I think Joby Hall exemplified that you can be a cutthroat competitor and a genuine, nice, empathetic person at the same time. Those things are not mutually exclusive. And he not only won the national championship in 1978, beating Duke in the Checker Dome back in St. Louis, but he knocked on the door so many times. The last coach that John Wooden ever coached against was Joby Hall in the 1975 NCAA championship game, when Joby Hall had Kevin Grady and Jimmy Dan Connor. He lost the Elite Eight to Dean Smith in North Carolina in 1977. Just a fabulous, fabulous person and a great basketball coach. And the radio show that he had, he used to have a radio show with Denny Crum, the great Denny Crum from Louisville. And I was a frequent guest on that program. And I don't think I ever left that show, not only without a smile on my face, but without laughing and having a wonderful time. Those two were great friends. And obviously wonderful competitors against one another, but great, great friends. Let's bring in Holly Rowe now with a little bit more on Coach Hall.
I think an important part of his legacy is that he helped integrate Kentucky. He really deserves a lot of the credit. And he also hired the first black assistant coach, Leonard Hamilton, who's gone on to a fantastic career. I spoke with Coach Hamilton this morning, and he said, I was so grateful I got to FaceTime with Joe Hall this week and tell him how much I love him and how he'd impacted my life. And it's an all-time classic story, as Leonard Hamilton had been an assistant at Austin Peay and decided he was going to go into a real job. Got a job at Dow Chemical on Monday. He was going to be the best chemical salesman in the country. On Tuesday, Joby Hall called and said, I want you to interview for this Kentucky assistant coach job. He said, I was on a plane that day. I left a note on my desk at Dow Chemical, and he came here a week later and became one of the first assistants here. Very legendary story, and Joby Hall deserves a lot of credit. Immediately signed a black player in his first freshman class, Reggie Warford, and really changed the course of history here at Kentucky.
Absolutely. And that picture you saw was the team photo from 1983-84. Leonard Hamilton actually was hired back in 1974 and has gone into a great career himself. And as we know, Leonard hasn't aged a day since 1974. It's amazing.
Leonard's another example of how you can be a great competitor and a wonderful, nice, empathetic person at the same time. What a great man Leonard Hamilton is.
So Big Blue Nation mourning the passing of Joby Hall today. A nice video tribute for him in the moments before the game.
You know, John Calipari in Kentucky's game against Vanderbilt, which was similar to this. I mean, they ran away from Vanderbilt. They didn't handle the last several minutes of the game very well. In fact, they got outscored 16-0 to end the game, and he was none too happy about it. Wants to see his team finish this one off in better fashion. It's not the idea. It's not anything about pouring it on. It's just making sure you're doing the right thing at the right time to the best of your ability throughout the course of the game.
Take a guess, Jay, what you think the fast break points are in this game.
Oh, I'd say,
I'll give you a hint. It's a lot to a little.
36-10.
It is 27-0 according to our stats monitor.
Well, it depends on how you count fast break, but
But no matter how you slice it, Kentucky has been running and running and running all day long. And that's the way John Calipari wants them to play, with guys like Xavier Wheeler and Ty Washington in the backcourt. Well, Tuesday night, a nice doubleheader for you here on ESPN. Kansas will be in Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners at 7 Eastern. We were just talking about Leonard Hamilton. Coach Hamilton's Seminoles will host Duke Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern here on ESPN. One app, one tap.
Paolo Banchero. You saw Johnny Davis from Wisconsin, Keegan Murray from Iowa, and both Davis and Murray, they weren't even starters last year, averaged 7-8 points a game, and they're both averaging over 20 this year. But if the Wooden Award ended today, and it doesn't, I would give it to Oscar Tshiebwe. Well, if I didn't give it to him, he'd grab it with both hands and take it anyway.
24-point lead. Make it 27. Ty Washington, probably the best player on the floor today. And that's saying something, because a lot of Cats have played really well.
Well, he's a remarkable player. You talk about young players, freshmen, and them having to learn a lot. He's got a maturity to his game that is uncommon, and he's complete. He defends, rebounds, scores.
Tshiebwe couldn't finish, tried to take it coast to coast. John Calipari has called Washington a silent assassin. He can go out there, put up some pretty good numbers, and you don't maybe notice him all that much.
Well, because I think it's because it's not based on flash.
Right.
It's on substance. So he might have 16 points and 7 assists in a game, 6 rebounds, and somebody says, well, it was a quiet this or a quiet that. Well, that means he's making the right play at the right time. Might not be making the Sports Center top 10. But to me, spectacular is doing the simple thing and the consistent thing over and over and over again. And Ty Washington, at a very young age, has a grasp of that.
He's got a good voice in practice, too. You go to practice as we did yesterday, and you just see all the positive energy and the way he's interacting with all of his teammates. And, again, they've got freshmen who are 18, and they've got guys like Grady and Mintz who are 23, 24 years old. But it is a group where, you can see they enjoy playing together.
And they're going to get better. I think the ceiling is even higher for this team. They've shown it in this game, certainly. But, when you talk about positive attitude, one guy I'd say is in that category, maybe the leader of that, is Davion Mintz. When he was struggling shooting the ball, you couldn't tell from talking to him or seeing it.
Not this time for Washington.
We're going to have a rotating #1 all season long. Kentucky may wind up being one of those #1 teams before the season's over. Who knows? But which team do you think is the best team? And you're not allowed to say Ryerson with your Canadian bias.
Well, we're going to a break, so you want to pick up that conversation when we come back?
That is so weak.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by H&R Block. Get the expert tax help you need. Online and in person, help is here. Welcome back. Time now for today's Game Track, brought to you by Fairlife. Some thoroughbreds across the state. Some thoroughbreds here at Rupp Arena today. 96 points on the board already for Kentucky. Ty Washington with 26. Xavier Wheeler with 21. An outstanding performance by Kentucky. You asked me who I think is the best team. Carleton was the other one you were searching for. Ryerson and Carleton. But that's another story. Being Canadian, I'm going to be neutral on this, and I'm going to say, ask me again after the Kentucky-Auburn game next week. How much, how big of a game is that looking like right now? Auburn, I think, assuming they win today, will be ranked at the worst second in the new poll next week. Kentucky's going to move up. I think this is the best performance by a team that I've seen in a game that you and I have done this year. This has been an unbelievable performance.
It is the best performance that we've seen together. Gonzaga played BYU the other night, and there hasn't been a better offensive performance I've seen than Gonzaga put on. But I think the best team in America right now is Purdue. They're not ranked that way. They got beat at Rutgers when Ron Harper Jr. threw in a 60-footer at the buzzer. But you know, they shoot well over 50% from the field. They get to the free throw line like crazy. And with Jaden Ivey and Travion Williams and Zach Edey, Sasha Stefanovic, you know, that they're legit.
And another three, this one for Keon Brooks Jr. Kentucky now 10 of 17 from three-point range.
Boy, when Kentucky shoots the ball like this, forget it.
And there have been times in the past, as Huntley Hatfield lays one in, where Kentucky's had a lot of ability, but they haven't had a lot of great three-point shooting. That is not the case on this year's team.
No, I mean this year's team, especially with Kellen Grady, Ty Washington, and now Davion Mintz, the way he's shooting the ball, that gives them a trio of guys that can help spread the floor a little bit. You can't pack it in as much.
How about this, Jay? The last time Tennessee allowed 100 points in a game was 2006. And the last time they allowed 100 against Kentucky was 2001. Not what that man wants to see.
So what does the Rep Arena crowd get if you get 100? Usually there's some kind of promotion where you get a chalupa or a taco or something. I would vote for Rep Arena ice cream.
They had 52 at halftime and haven't really cooled off much here. The shooting percentage has gone down a little bit, but it's still crazy high. And Tshiebwe with a chance to put him into triple digits.
You know, when you paint your chest with the word cats on it, you know, you're the C, the A, you pretty much have to stay in your seat the whole game.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can move over and sit next to the other guy. You don't want it to say cast or worse.
Yeah, you can't change order.
It's always the guys that should keep their shirts on that do that.
Damian Collins back into the game for Kentucky as the lay-in is there for Kennedy Chandler.
The thing that makes this win even more impressive to me and the way Kentucky's played is that Tennessee's really good. I mean, look, they've had some issues shooting the ball. I mean, we did that Texas Tech game where Madison Square Garden had to repaint the rims after, and both teams couldn't buy a bucket. But Tennessee is good. And from the opening tap, I mean, heck, the best possession they had was against the 1-3-1.
The opening possession of the game. Step back for Powell. Tough shot.
What a rebound.
That is Quentin Dubunje, a freshman from France, getting some run here at the end of the game for Tennessee. Bryce Hopkins in the corner, getting in on the fun.
He's the guy that I think can emerge to give Kentucky more quality depth. So strong, skilled, good body.
Little something, I think, between Plavšić and Tshiebwe. Wheeler's trying to calm down Tshiebwe, who I think is coming out of the game right now. John Calipari's emptying the bench.
Yeah, smart. Yeah, the referee's right on top of it. Just a little discussion about, hey, where should I eat after the game? I don't really know the Lexington area.
Is the ice cream all it's cracked up to be?
Well, he doesn't have to ask Oscar that. He can ask me.
So 9 points, 12 rebounds for Oscar Tshiebwe. Ty Washington leading the way. He's got 28. Xavier Wheeler 21. Kellen Grady knocked down 4 threes today. Chandler left open. And Plavšić with a chance for a three-point play. You know, a little behind-the-scenes thing for you. That is Eric Lindsay, who is the longtime director of athletic communications. We call him SID, Sports Information Director. And he has been with the Kentucky Athletic Department for 13 years, and this is his last game. He is moving on to a job in the private sector. And Eric Lindsay and Deb Moore, who is with him in the Kentucky Department, and all the great SIDs that we work with and put up with our nonsense all around the country. They do unbelievable work behind the scenes, and we wish Eric the very best going forward.
Well, Eric is one of the best in the country at his job, but let's not kid ourselves. Deb Moore is the real engine running this program.
The backbone of the operation.
1 minute remaining.
Still Tennessee ball as we are into the final minute. Tennessee's next game will be Tuesday at Vanderbilt. What do you think is going to be foremost on Rick Barnes' mind over the next 48 hours getting ready for that game?
I think they're definitely going to look at the tape as a team and go over all the mistakes they made. And, Rick is probably going to tell them, look, you made me watch this. Now you have to watch it. But you have to turn the page in any season. You're going to have rough patches and great ones, but you have to turn the page. Boy, if Kentucky gets a half-court shot here, Brendan Canada should take it, number 14. Like a lot of teams at the end of a shoot-around before a game, the team will shoot half-court shots, and I think Canada has made more half-court shots than any other Wildcat. Bruiser Flint hit one the other day before they played Vanderbilt. It must warm your heart that someone named Canada is killing it.
Without question. This is Zan Payne, the son of former assistant Kenny Payne, who gets fouled, and he'll head to the line.
Ennis Cantor just changed his name to Ennis Freedom. I heard that Brennan Canada was thinking about maybe Brennan, Nova Scotia. Would that bother you?
That wouldn't bother me. I like it. Between Ryerson and Nova Scotia, you were checking a lot of Canadian boxes today. Kareem Watkins is in the game as well. Dante Allen is in the game. Remember him? He had a couple of huge games last year. He could really shoot the three, but hasn't shot it as well this year. His minutes have dwindled.
He was a great high school player. Put up so many points in the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Shot clock turned off. How about the Kentucky Wildcats? 107 points against a team that was giving up only 61 per game on the season. Allen up top, and Collins couldn't corral it. And Chandler in the game right to the very end for Tennessee. Plavcic misses the dunk. DeBunje will get a bucket, and that'll be that. What a performance by the Cats. John Calipari's got to be thrilled.
Kentucky was absolutely fabulous. What a great building block for the rest of the season.
More hoops coming your way. The Seminoles are up at the Carrier Dome to take on Syracuse. That is coming up next. For Jay Billis, Holly Rowe, and our ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks for watching. Let's send you to Syracuse. Here's Dave O'Brien.